Hi there, I'm Ritesh, and in this video, I'll walk you through how to create this finance tracker template. This is the second most popular finance template on Notion Marketplace. Alright, so let's start with the new page. I'll call it finance tracker. Highlight icon. Let me make it full width. So we will start with the database first. So let's add a new page where we'll add the databases. So we'll add a new page with /page. I'll name it database. Alright, so let's make it full width as well. So we will first add the accounts database. So here all the bank accounts will be stored. So I'll name it accounts. We'll create a property to store initial balance. So this will be simply a number property where we'll store a particular value and it will be added to it will be added after adding all the incomes or subtracting the expenses. This will be added. So you can sort of while you are getting started, you can adjust the balance accordingly with this property. So this will be a number property. We'll set the USD currency for now. Next, we will need a property called balance property. So this will display the actual balance from the accounts based on the incomes, expenses, and transfers. So this we will write this formula once we have the rest of the databases because we need income, expense relation properties. So we will add a new inline database. We'll name it incomes. So then we'll add a property to store the amount. Next, we need a date property. Next, we need a relation to the accounts database to select the account from which the transaction is happening. So we'll select the relation. We'll create a new relation to the accounts database. We'll obviously create a two relation so that the two properties sync. And we'll also put a one page limit so that only one account is selected per income per transaction. Alright, so next let's add this building icon to denote. Let's add another property to display the source. So this will be the source of the income. Can add various options like, let's say, salary, all the things you need. Alright, so the income database is ready. Next, we need to obviously change this formatting to United States dollars, USD. Next, we'll add another inline database for expenses. We'll add a amount property again. We'll make sure it is the currency is selected. Next, we'll add the date for the expense and another again relation to a accounts database to select the account where the transaction is happening. So we'll again put a one page limit and we'll add the icon. So let's add the categories. So basically this will be the budget tracker as well. So let's add a database for categories. So we'll be tracking total expenses made for a month by categories. So we can budget it here. So we'll add a number property to store the budget for a month. So budget. Next, we need to add a relation to the expenses database so that we can select the categories for the expenses and you can see how much expenses we have done per month. So for that, we'll create a relation. We'll add the relation. And in this, I can see when I add the two-way relation, both are happening in both databases. Relation property is added. And we will also make sure in the expenses database, the category relation has a one page limit so that only one page can be selected at a time. So that's there. Next, we need another property. So we'll add a formula property to show all the total expense made in the current month. So we'll add a icon here as well. Alright, so let's add the formula for this property. So we can obviously add the formula here, edit formula. And even better, you can add a fake just an empty page and add there. So when you click on it, the formula will open up and you can see the output of the formula, what will return. while you're creating the template itself. So to find basically this formula will return how much expense was there, total expense for the current month. Now to find that, we need to basically compare, we need to filter for all the expenses that has the month same as today's month. So to find today's month, we need to we can use this function called today. So this will return today's date. You can see January 5, 2026. And we can add this function called format date. So we can format this date by a particular way. So we want to just format it by month and year so that it compares with the month of expenses and it will return that way. So let me show you. Once we add -MMYY, it will return the month and the year. Now I want to make sure that the expenses has the same month and year. So it means that it is current month expenses. So we'll find that and we'll just sum it up. So to do that, we'll simply add, let's copy this. And we need to add the expenses relation. So this will hold all the related expenses for the category. And we will add the filter property and we'll make sure that the today's month and year is same as the current, basically the category for which the formula is running. The expense, the filter is running. For the expenses, format date. So we'll select the date property. We will format that also in the same way. So MMYY. So this will return the month and year of each of expenses, this line. And if it is same as today's month and year, it will pass the filter and it will return only the expenses that are from today's month. Let me quickly add some fake data so that you can see. So I just added a few expenses with amount, date, and category. And the category you have selected is just category 1. And you can see we have the filter set up. So we have 2 expenses in January and 1 expenses in December. And you can see it is only returning the first 2 expenses. So we want to select only the amount property, not the entire base. So we can use this map function for that. So map current dot amount. So we can see instead of the base, it is returning the amount property for both the expenses as a list. Now what we want is we want to sum the list. So we can simply use a function called sum and both the values will be added. Cool. So now we can format this as well as in dollar and let's reduce to width. Cool. So this returns this month's total expense. We can also add, and this is a number property, so we can simply add, let's say the budget for the month is $125. And here also we can add the currency format. Now with these 2 values, we can find the budget progress. So for that also we'll use a formula property. We'll name it progress. We will use this circle filling icon for that. And to find the progress, we'll simply use this month over the budget, monthly budget. So it returns decimal value. We can convert this to a percentage. So number format will be percent and returns the percentage decimal conjugate. Now we can add a ring on the side to show as a ring along with the number. Awesome. So the categories or the budget tracker is done. So let's move towards the transfers database. So transfer between 2 accounts. So first we need to add the transfers database. We need to add a date property, the amount that was transferred. Let's name it, make it in dollar, and 2 relation to the accounts database, one for the account from which it was transferred and the account to which it was transferred. So we'll need 2 relations. So we'll add accounts. We'll make sure again only one account can be selected and add. We'll name it this as to account, and on the two-way relation we'll name it so it shows that the amount money to the come that account through transfers. Similarly, we'll add the relation again to the accounts database. We'll name this from account. Again, only one page could be selected. So that's there. And we'll also again enable the two-way relation, and we'll name the property in relation property in accounts database as transfer out to denote like that the money actually went out from the account through transfers. Awesome. So that's there. All right. So now that all the transaction databases are added, we can find out the balance. So we need to click on this. Let's add a new empty page, and then here we'll click on formula so that you can see the output. So first we need to add the initial amount. Next, we will add all the incomes. So to find that, we need to use the incomes relation from that account property, and we will select the amounts instead of the page. So we'll select current dot amounts. So this will output a list of the amounts, related amounts, and then we'll sum it up. So this formula will return all the incomes made to the account. Next, we need to subtract all the expenses. So we'll add a subtraction icon and expenses dot map current dot amount and sum it. So we'll this will return again all the expenses made through this account, sum of all the expenses made through this account, and we are subtracting this. Next, we need to subtract all the transfers made out of the account. So again, similarly, we'll find out with the transfer out relation, we can find out how much transfer that was made out of the account. Next, we need to add all the transfers that came to the account. All right, so our balance property is ready. We can convert this to also EST. So we got all the relation, we got the balance, and now we can set up the page layout so that it looks a little nicer to read. So for that, we need to go inside the page template. We need to create a new page template. So we can create a new page template there, and you can set it as default so that anytime you create a new page, this page setup get used. We want to set up this icon for all the accounts. We'll set a balance. So obviously, let's hide this page discussion. It's unnecessary. For all the relation, we can create a tab layout for each relation. Let's show the balance in a little nicer way. So we'll add a new section and select the balance here. Next, we will hide this, and we will pin the initial amount, and this will be the contents. Here, let's add all the incomes. So this is all the incomes. Let's add maybe some arrow in icon, arrow down to denote the incomes, and this is all the incomes. We can hide the account property because all the incomes here shown here will be of this particular account only. Similarly, we'll create expense. Again, we'll use arrow out, arrow up. Then we can again hide the accounts because the account will be this page itself. And similarly, we can add the transfer in. Let's use this one. Obviously, because all the transfers in will come to this account, we can hide the two account. This because in this case, it will be all to this account itself, and keep the from account. And similarly, we'll create the transfer out, arrow up, and here also we can hide the from account. Yeah, the page layout is shown. Awesome. So all the accounts will use this particular page layout to show the details. Next, for the incomes database, let's create again a page template. We will use this arrow down icon to denote it. We can obviously add the amount as in a proper separate section. Then we can select all these as a main property. Next, we can hide this empty property group. We can hide the page description. Now it looks a lot neater. Awesome. So let's move to our expenses database as well. We need to add the expense icon. So let's use this arrow up icon. We can hide this page description. We will select the amount property separate section so that it looks a lot bigger, and we can pin all the rest of the properties. So categories, date and account. We can add an icon for the categories itself. This save icon would be perfect. And we can hide this empty group. Perfect. Next, we have the categories database. We need to make these default so that every time these are used. We can also set the default date as date when duplicated. So this way, whenever you duplicate the page, the date will be automatically set to the today's date. Similarly, we can make this also as default and select the date as date when duplicated. And same, we don't need this here. All right, so for the categories, we can create a new template. You can mark this as default. You can also create separate icons for each category. By default, we can use this. And we can maybe show the progress in Amigo front and the monthly budget and this month. Cool. We can show the expenses in a separate section. We can also show it in a separate section. So we can use here. We can add the expense escalation in a separate section. We can hide this, and we can hide the page description as well. And again, we can add the expenses icon here. We can show the amount, date, and account. Budgeted this itself, so we can hide that. That's done. Then we have transfers. So for the transfers, we need maybe a transfer icon. So something like, we can again put the amount in a larger font, and we will pin the rest of the properties. So to from date. We can hide the property group because it's empty, and we can disable the page discussion. Awesome. So the backend for the template is ready. Now we need to work on the front end. So basically create the actual layout. So let's get started. So first we'll start with the buttons. So here let's add a section named quick actions, and we'll add the buttons. So we will start with the new income button. We'll add the income icon. We will add new piece as page to the income database, and we can select this new page. We can open the page that we added. So it will add a page and open the page that we added in center pick. You can also select full page or side page. Next, add a similar button for expense, transfer, account, and category. So let's quickly do it. It will be fairly simple, similar. Again, we'll select add page to the expenses database this time. And we will again open the same page in Centerpick. We can also duplicate this to quickly do it. This one will be for transfer. We'll add the transfer icon. And here we'll add the transfers database. Awesome. So all the buttons are now ready. Next, we need to add the views. So let's add the budgets view. Again, we'll go into the database and copy this link. Copy the link of the database. And I will go into the front and paste it here. What we need to do is we want to create this as a gallery view. So first we'll turn it to a gallery view. We will hide the page content. This will be empty, and we will show the monthly budget and the progress. Or instead, we can also show this month expense and the progress. Now we can also collapse that so that it takes less space. You can see. Perfect. I can hide the title. I can name this as this month. And we can add the month icon. Perfect. So budget section is ready. Now let's add the incomes view, the expenses view first. So again, I'll go into the database. I'll copy the link. And in the home page, I will add a new section. So I'll just drag a empty space to the side, something like this. And I have to sort of imagine where it is and increase the width. And we can paste the database here. Now it is using a separate line. So I'm going to grab all of this in below the quick actions. Perfect. We can hide this. We can add a new heading. Expenses will add the first the recent view. We'll add this icon, and we just want to show the amount property, the date. We'll reduce the weight of this, and this is where the accounts that will be there. Categories you can hide to save space. Next, we need to put a load limit so that it doesn't show too many pages. Next, we can add the view for weekly. So this will be a list view. So this will be a list view, and we can turn this into a list. We can then group this by date to be weekly. And then we can show some of the properties. So let's say we want to show the category, the amount, and then the date. Next, we can add a show aggregation so that it sums off for that particular month, the amount property. We can add a week icon here. Perfect. Similarly, we need to create the monthly view as well. You can just duplicate this, add the month icon, and maybe this monthly. And here we can add the grouping to view month instead. Perfect. Next, we need to create a chart. So this is a monthly chart to show the expenses. So again, I'll duplicate this. I'll turn this into a chart icon, and convert this to a chart. And then we need to add this the axis as monthly. Next, we need to the y-axis to denote the sum of the amounts. So you can see. Next, we want to also group them by category so that it is easier to understand what kind of expenses this was. Awesome. So the expense view is done. Similarly, we need to create the income view as well. So let's do it. We can copy this. We will first add a heading 3. We'll paste the link and link database view. We can hide this. I can name this as recent, and we will add this icon. We can reduce the width to save space, something like this. We can hide the source to save space. Again put a load limit so that it doesn't take too much space once it has a lot of pages. Next, we'll create a monthly view. So similar to this one, we'll get for the income database. Again, I'll name it monthly. I will add the monthly icon. Next, we'll turn this into a list view. Next, we need to show maybe the account, the amount, and the date. Let's put the date here, the amount. Yeah, perfect. Now we don't have some pages. Let's add some pages, and let's maybe this one be December. All right. So now that we have some values, let's sum the values so that first we need to group it and then we can sum it. So first we need to group it, then we can submit. So let's group it by date, be monthly. Next we need to hover over here and we can show aggregation and we can more option and sum the amount property. Perfect. So the monthly view is done. Let's move to our yearly. So the same way we will simply duplicate this, we'll name it yearly, and we will add this calendar icon, and we need to change the grouping to be year. Awesome. So let's add a chart for this view. Again, we'll add a chart icon. I think it's in recent. Yeah. Next, we need to turn this into a chart. We need the x-axis to be monthly and y-axis to denote the sum of the amount came, and then group by source. Perfect. So both the views are done. Now let's move towards the transfers. So I can copy the link of the database. I'll go to the home page. I'll add this empty space just below it. I'll paste the link. I'll add the link view. Next, we'll hide this title. I'll name it recent transfers. Set the transfer icon. So this one. And let's make this, keep this as list view. So let's put a load limit of 10 and turn this into a list. Next, we will, let's add the from account, then to account, then amount. Perfect. Now let's add similarly to this one, add a monthly view. So we'll turn this into a list. Yeah, this is already a list. So we just need to group it. So I'll just group by date and date by month. Let's name this monthly. Perfect. Now we need to show the from account. Yeah, we need to. Perfect. So monthly view is also done. If we have to have an account here or a transfer here, so this is how to solve. And we can show the aggregation here. More options, sum amount. Alright, so next we need the chart, the expense chart here, and the accounts page here. So let's add them. So first we'll go towards the accounts, the database, and copy the accounts database link. Let's paste it here, and let's convert this to a gallery view. Yeah, so let's hide the page content to be none. Next, we want to show the balance. Now to show the balance, we can show in a nicer way. So for example, if it to show directly, it will show something like this, which is perfectly fine. But to look a little nicer, we'll add a new property so that looks nicer. So I'll simply go into edit property, we'll add a new property named text, and it will simply be current balance. We can actually just simply use this as a formula so that it is there by default. And let this be text. And in the formula, I'll simply, inside the course, I'll just add current balance. So this returns something like this. Next, what we can do is we can make this a compact layout. And in the property visibility, we'll move the balance after current balance. So it is sort of in a row. Perfect. Let's hide this. Name this as accounts. Again, we will put a building icon. And we can move this beside here. Something like this. We can increase the space, something like this. We can increase the space here as well. Perfect. Alright, now we need the chart. So for that, the chart is built on the expense database. So we'll simply grab it, copy link by view, paste the link, turn this into a chart, and here we'll turn this into a donut chart. And we want this to represent the expenses for this particular month. So the way it will work is, so we will go into filters, we'll add the date to be this month. Next, what do we want is here to show up the categories, and each slice represent the amount by sum. So we can see the categories or something like this. We can turn this, we can hide some of the things like the legend. So the bottom line. Perfect. Now we can hide this and name this as this month, so that this only shows this month's value. So just name this month the monthly icon. Perfect. So the chart is also ready. So this is the entire finance tracker is now ready. We need to add some titles here. So we have we have the headings generated as the image. So I'll just quickly add it. Alright, so I have added all the headings and the cover image. Now the template is completely ready. So thanks for watching the video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe the channel. We'll be creating a lot more of these template tutorials coming forward.